What up, internet? Welcome back to the channel. We've got another live feed update for you. Kind of a big one. There was some stuff that happened last night that I want to talk to you guys about. So let's kill that music now and just kind of get into it. Before we get into what happened last night, breaking news on the feed just before I decided to go live and bring you all this information. We got an update on who won the veto. If you don't want spoilers for the veto, now's your time to click off the video, come back later, and 3, 2, 1. Kiefer is your winner of the veto, and that's going to bring up a lot of interesting situations here because there's not many options for a replacement nominee at the moment. We'll see. Also, am I having some echoes here? Maybe. I feel like I'm having an echo. Where is it coming from? Oh, here's where it's coming from. It's only on my end, though. I don't think you guys could hear that. But that was funny for me. Oh, hey, thank you there in the comments, Mysterious, for telling me there's no echo. I was getting, like, echoes in my speakers. I had, like, myself up on another tab there. Anyway, getting back into what's been going on. I see your comments here now, too. Whose game did Beth blow up? Oh, boy. So, if you're not aware of the dynamics that's been going on right now, there's a big 6-person alliance in the game. It's called the Sunsetters. You got Latoya, Tychon, Jedson, Kiefer, Beth, and Tina. Now, last night in the HOH room, Beth went and had a conversation with Austin, the HOH. Breydon was also in there as well. She decided, well, she didn't necessarily decide it. Austin kind of asked her. She's like, oh, what do you think of Latoya? And she just goes off. She goes, wild. She's wild. She's so good. She's got the boys wrapped up in her finger. She starts talking about how she's aligned with Tina and they're real close. They're always talking and they're older, so they get along. And it was like, whoa, Beth, what are you doing here? You're in an alliance with these 6. And one of the big things that I want to bring up is I keep seeing more and more people talk about how Beth figured out Latoya's game. No. Beth knew Latoya's game because they were aligned together. It was like, what? This isn't her like magically figuring it out. This is her throwing her under the bus because now she sees, oh, Latoya is actually a pretty good player. And on top of that, Latoya and Tychon earlier in the day had a conversation in the bathroom. What were they talking about? How they didn't trust Beth anymore. And that they wished that they didn't include Beth in their 6-person alliance. There was also a video, I tweeted it out, of Tina and Latoya talking earlier in that same day. Saying, man, I don't know what it is. I don't trust Beth that much. I wish we would have had Tara in the 6 instead of her. So it's like, look, am I saying what Beth did when she went to Austin and told her about Latoya being close to Ty and Jedson or being close to Tina? No, I don't think it was a bad move. I actually think it was a really good move for Tina. Or, excuse me, for Beth. But to say that it was her figuring out Latoya's game is just way too generous. I will say I do think she's quickly raised up again in my power rankings. If anybody saw them yesterday when I did them, it was kind of a last-minute decision where I was like, all right, I'm going to swap Tara for Beth in my power rankings, or I'm going to switch their positions based off everybody saying, hey, we don't trust Beth anymore. Like, she's going around our backs talking. And then she proved it last night when she went to the HOH room. Mysterious, you say you're not a big fan of Latoya. I understand. Look, and not everybody's going to be, you know, your cup of tea in the house. That's what makes Big Brother great, is that there's so many different players and so many different dynamics. There's somebody for everybody to love. Personally, I think Latoya really was playing a very, very good game. Her and Tina, their duo that they have going is a very strong bond. Except for the fact that they don't realize that people see that bond already. In fact, I would even say that people are starting to notice Tina and Latoya's bond more than they're noticing the Latoya, Jedson, Tychon bond, which I think is maybe the more dangerous one if you're another house guest in the house. But it really, like, it was like, man, why are you guys saying that she's figured out Latoya when she's just in an alliance? My comparison was BB16. Beth pretty much was pulling a Devin, right? Like, did Devin figure out, you know, Zach and Derek and Cody and Frankie's game? No, he just decided, oh, I don't like Frankie or I don't like Zach, and I want to put him on the block. It was like, wait, you're in an alliance with him. I don't know. But now, here's the next thing. There was talk about, you know, all right, what happens with veto if Josh were to win veto? What would we do? Well, the original idea was Rohan. Rohan would be the replacement, and he would go up. And then you had all this stuff with Beth going to Austin, talking about Latoya. It started to go, okay, wait a minute here. We could see something else happen. We might see not only if the veto is used, somebody else go up that's not Rohan. We might see somebody else get voted out who's not Josh. Because it was the original plan, no matter what, even if Rohan went up, Josh was probably still going to go. But now, things might change. Since Kiefer won the veto, that even makes things a little bit more complicated, right? Because now it's going to be Josh versus that person, right? Like, because if Josh would have won veto, it would have been Kiefer versus Rohan. Kiefer stays with the votes. Now, it could get a little weird. Mysterious chiming in again says, it's hard to tell sometimes when the house guests are being genuine or trying to wrap somebody around their finger, right? And that's why, for me, I can never usually tell if someone's genuine or not until I hear them tell an information in one conversation to somebody I know they trust, right? For example, the Latoya Beth stuff, I wasn't 100% sure when I first heard Latoya and Tina both say, I don't know if we trust Beth. Because I thought maybe that was Tina trying to say to Latoya, I personally don't trust Beth and I would rather Tara. That's kind of maybe where I thought it was going. But then later on, I saw Latoya have the same conversation with Tychon, who I know, like, they are 100%. And that's when I realized, oh, okay, Tina, Latoya, you're right, they're all together. So that's where, when you're watching the live feeds, you want to see the comparing of the notes, right? Who's sharing the same information with each other. If somebody has a conversation, for example, if Tina and Latoya had that conversation about Beth, and Latoya said nothing to Tychon, that would put light bulbs in my head that, okay, wait, somebody here in that threesome doesn't trust each other. So that's usually the kind of stuff I personally look for. But your options right now for the veto, getting back to that, are limited. First off, with the team twist, you only have a certain number of people that you can put up in the first place. And now, since Kiefer, who is the person who was on the block, won veto, you again now limit yourself. So there's only 4 options, 4 possible options before you even think of relationships that could go on the block. First one is Jedson. The second one is Rohan. Then you would have Breydon and Latoya. Those are your 4 options for a replacement. Here's your problem. Austin being HOH, she is very close to Breydon, and she's not going to want to put him up. Jedson seems like he is in kind of a foursome with not only Austin and Beth, but Tychon as well. It's kind of like a little foursome side alliance that's going on. So I don't see her putting Jedson up. That leaves you with two options, Rohan and Latoya. If for some reason Austin truly decides to believe and go with Beth, Breydon, Spicy V, Rohan, because he would be off the block. Would they have the votes now, though? Trying to, in my head now, think about the votes, because you need 6. You need 6 people to have the vote this week on who's going to go. In fact, why don't we do this? Why don't we pull up our alliance chart here? Give us a little bit of an idea of what's going on. Pay no attention to that random key next to Tera. I messed it up and then deleted the PSD, so I gotta fix all that again. But we can look here and see where the votes might end up going. All right, so Kiefer is going to come off the block and someone is going to replace him. That's going to leave you with all of the Sunsetters off the block able to control the vote. If they stick together, they got the numbers. But if Beth decides to flip and they aren't able to pull in Tera, they don't control the numbers anymore. Does that make sense? Because they'll only have 5. They'll have Jed, Ty, Tina, Tychon, and Kiefer. They need either Beth or Tera to be able to have the majority to have the vote. So it's going to be interesting to see how that ends up going as well. But yeah, that's pretty much the update on what's been going on inside the house. Now, our next scenario we need to figure out is what's going to happen with the veto. Who's going to end up going on the block as a replacement. Once that happens, we'll have a little bit better of an idea on who's going to end up going home this week. I did put out a little poll as well on my Twitter. Let's check the results of it. See where people are at. Basically, the poll question was, who do you think is most likely to be evicted this week? Kiefer, Josh, Rohan as a backdoor. And I put another option out there as other, right? Because we weren't sure whether it would be like somebody like Latoya, Jedson, or Breydon. 10% of the vote went to a Rohan backdoor. So even if Rohan does go up, you guys don't think he's going to be the one to leave. 20% of the vote went to Kiefer, who is no longer an option. And 66.7% of the vote, almost a devilish number, went to Josh to be the one that everybody thinks is going to be evicted this week as well. That poll's still up on my Twitter as well if you wanted a chance to get your vote in on that as well. Mysterious chiming in once again says, do you think Latoya fits the title of villain? I wouldn't necessarily put her as the villain just yet, but there's potential with her having her fingers all over the house pulling strings that she could turn into like the official villain of the season. I think right now at least the show, right, the producers, they're pushing the idea that Rohan, Josh, they're your villains. Yeah, so there's potential that she could slide into that villain role, but I'll tell you, I honestly do believe she's playing a very, very good game, a very smart game, and I think if she can keep the momentum, right, if she stays out of this week and she keeps the Sunsetters going and she kind of keeps this group tight the way they can be, we could be in for something special, something real special, because I don't think she has turned it on yet for the competitions, right? Her and Tina were talking today about how this next HOH, it's got to be one of the two. One of them have to win HOH, whether it's them two or maybe one of the boys, right? Jedson and Ty. But absolutely, one of their group needs to win HOH. Otherwise, it could be some big trouble for them. Just because the limited number of potential nominees, that is really tough. But let's listen in here because I see actually a little conversation going on with Latoya and Breydon. Let's see. I can do this.
Find myself.
Let me know if you guys can hear that well or not. Obviously, I'm not trying to make it too loud, just to kind of give you guys an idea on what I'm paying attention to on the feeds at the moment.
Went away for university because I just like stayed and like went in like my city or whatever, and like I always like envy those people that were like in res or like.
Doesn't seem like it's a lot of game talk, kind of just personal talk.
Like I'm just like figuring.
Pop out of there. That's the only things that are really going on the feeds. The other two at the moment are on the feeds will be back soon logo. Let's check in here once again with chat. Beth might be in danger going into next week. Absolutely, because here's the thing. One of two things is going to happen. Either what she did by kind of throwing the boys and Latoya and Tina under the bus is either going to save her. Because, like I said, they were already starting to doubt Beth. Even to the point, Tychon and Latoya both said, maybe we get her out earlier, right? Sooner than later. Before Final 6, right? Final 7, Final 8, right? Get her out sooner because they don't trust her to be the one to flip. So either one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to throw them all on the bus and keep her safe with people like Austin and the other side of the house, or the Sunsetters are going to turn this into, do you see Beth over here? She's spitting all these lies about us being an alliance. Meanwhile, she was an alliance with you, and you, trying to say that we're, right? Like, it could very easily go sour for Beth. I still think it was a pretty good play. Like I said, she was already being doubted by her own alliance. So what other options did she have? But I think that's a good place to end it. We have to see now who ends up going up as the replacement nominee. Thank you guys all for joining me for this video. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Never miss a stream or a video that I put out. You can also follow me on Twitter, same as my channel name, Ori Streams on Twitter. And remember, house guests, expect the unexpected. And I will see you next time.